Brenda Lynn, let's have a conversation because I want to empower people today, and especially based on an experience that happened recently for you when we were facilitating a training together, and it was part of the series for the solar plexus. And so one of the guided exercises that I was doing during that time, of course, you were the wonderful demonstrationalist.
Love
And
that position.
yes, within that experience, you had from the solar plexus guidance that was part of the process, you had something phenomenal, to take place. And then after that, we ended up having a session aside from the training we were doing together. So I thought it would be great if we actually could provide kind of that story for other people and then
Right.
have some conversation around it. So I can kind of set it up in terms of what, the exercise was taking participants into a different dimension of the solar plexus.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you were going through the process yourself. And from there, that's when that experience happened, and you were able to, we want to talk about the sunflower that came up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you want to
Absolutely.
share about that, and then we can segue into, what happened when we were in a session that then illuminated that. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So what I remember is the session that we did on the solar plexus. And that was
what we were facilitating together, and you were doing.
Yeah,
you were in the, if you want to call it, the hot seat. So
hot
you were
seat, yeah.
You were in the demonstration seat, having your own process and going into that dimension of the solar plexus wisdom, and then the imagery that came up for you in terms of the sunflower. But the other experience happened after
that.
And yes, when we
absolutely.
were. So do you want to talk about that part in terms of the afterwards?
Yeah, like I think we will set it up and take them through kind of the process that I experienced when I was going through this. So let me just start, and you can jump in wherever you need to.
Yes.
First off, all the work that I've done with the 7 chakras, and I've got deep dives on each of the chakras and publications, but this is the one for the solar plexus chakra, harnessing your solar plexus chakra power. But I've always used the sunflower when I, as an image for that solar plexus chakra, because it's the sun. It's the sun.
Right.
And it just kind of, to me, it's the most vivid representation of the sun and the color of yellow light that comes in there. So then when we went into the experience that you took me through into the other dimensions of...
Yeah, because it was with the solar plexus and the root chakra being kind of companions, I believe, in that particular training. And then you noticed that red was in the sunflower, and you were like, oh, there it is. There's the root chakra energy and the solar plexus energy. But it was after the training, then we got into a session where the brow chakra came in, the third eye came in, and then I ended up doing some remote work, in a sense, to open up the expansion in another dimension of the third eye. And then that's when you saw, well, actually, we got to back up from that, because several months ago when we were doing a session, and this was with the heart chakra, with the commission to communicate, and the throat chakra, excuse me.
Yes.
And I remember during a particular session, which we actually have parts of that on YouTube too. And so I'll make sure we link that in the description.
Perfect.
But you had this experience where we were doing, the dimensional work, and in your visioning, you had this slingshot moment where you saw yourself being pulled back in the slingshot and then released. And then you landed into this garden that was
just appeared in a garden.
You appeared, there you go. You appeared in the garden, and it was very symbolic that you didn't need to worry about what the in-between was. That
No, I didn't see myself traveling at all.
Yeah, you didn't see the traveling. You
I
just
saw myself pulling back.
Let
And
go.
then I know that I consciously released, but then I just appeared
Yes,
in this lovely garden.
you did. And then you end up seeing this when I did the expansion in the third eye, and you felt it. So let's talk about that too, because you literally felt that expansion and that opening, the pulsating or so that was going on during that.
And I think that it's so hard for me because we've been doing a lot of this work every day for the last couple of weeks, and it's hard for me to separate them. But I remember being in, and I think it was through the third eye chakra.
It was the third eye, the brow.
And I appeared in that garden, and there was all these purple and pink flowers, and it was gorgeous. And then all these sunflowers started to pop out, and a real contrast to the soft purple and pinks. And I think that was when I saw the redness of the center going down the stem and into the earth and drawing up that red light magnetic energy.
The magnetic energy, yes. And before that, you actually saw the vision of the garden that was, prior, from months ago when we did a session. You said you saw it from after the expansion of the third eye, from 33,000.
My 30,000 foot view, kind of that bird's eye view of it.
Yes, and it was right after. It was right after I did the remote energy work of opening up that dimension, and that's when you said, wow, I got to see the panoramic view from that. And then from there you were back in the garden energy, and then that's when you were able to see the sunflowers, and one particular one stood out to you amongst all the other pinks and purple flowers.
And it had the brightest, reddest center.
Yes,
I think it was the first one to pop up, actually. I think that was. And then I noticed, and I think it might have been in another session where there was a bunch, there was more and more sunflowers popping up.
There were more and more.
But in that first session, it was one.
Yes, right. It was only one. And that's what made it stand out and was significant. And then, so much happened after that too. Because you have to even tell about the what happened with you with the picture you sent me, and then, wait a minute, and then you had another meditation, a separate meditation, and the expansion of that. So do you want to talk about that, and then the picture?
Yeah, I will. I'll finish off with the one meditation, like when I saw the purple flowers and the sunflower popped up, and I saw the redness of the center popped out to me. And that's when I saw it go down into the earth and start gathering all kinds of that earth energy and bringing it up into my body. But the petals also, at the same time, the yellow petals came to life, and they started drawing energy from the universe in, so it was that electrical energy from the universe, the magnetic energy. So it was that whole electromagnetic experience going on in my, not just my physical body, but my entire energy body.
Right.
And then it was just yesterday. So then there was the next day I went in and I deliberately opened my third eye and sat in that garden, and I could tap into that garden that I had seen when I was doing the work with you.
Yes.
And I sat in there, and it was beautiful. I could hear the birds, the trees were around, the flowers. Everything was very tangible, higher vibration than our normal reality. It was definitely a different energy, but things were tangible there. I could see the trees and see the flowers and hear the birds. But then all of a sudden I was just found myself, I can't even say transported. Somehow I just appeared into a different dimension
of that experience,
Yeah. And it was beautiful. Like I could feel, like more than see, I could feel the brilliance and the beauty that was around. There was a lot of like life forms.
Yes, right.
But they were transparent. They were all different colors, but they were transparent. I could see right through them. Like they were pure light.
Right.
And nothing there took on form at all.
Right.
And it was just this feeling of absolute beauty and brilliance, and I mean the light itself was beautiful, the beings were beautiful, but there was like, I couldn't say, here's a tree or here's a flower or I hear a bird. It was just undefined at that point. And then I said, like, where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? Where is this? And what came through to me was 12th dimension or 12th realm.
12th dimension.
Came through as 12th realm. And
Right.
I'm going, oh, okay.
And then it makes sense because we, you know, some of the work that we had done prior within, you know, the fifth, going up from the fifth to the seventh dimension in one of the chakras. And there was this kind of hungness in the fifth. And then it sent us to do some other work. And I was
that's where the work came in, was doing this.
Right.
Wasn't it?
Yes. And I was saying that there's something there because I felt energy kind of stacking in a sense. And my mind was trying to kind of add up. And so 12 was what came up in my, you know, in my consciousness. But we were moving forward into doing what we were, you know, doing what we were doing. And then when you came back and told me about what came up for you there, and I said, oh, okay, there we go. It made sense. It all started, you know, clicking, you know, even more. But, you know, what was so interesting is that about that experience is that, and I mentioned to you, is that, you start coming into this experience where it's not about so much the tangibility, so to speak, that you're in the higher, lighter space, different type of frequency. And it's more of the co-creative energy in terms of life being more like a canvas. So things kind of get molded into place as you're having the experience versus there's so much, not so many like landmarks or forms, so to speak. So that's why you were having that experience. But what was so fascinating to me too, after, you know, receiving that email from you with the beautiful, brilliant experience that you had, you know, had as a continuation, is that you ended up taking that picture. Yes, with the sunflower, where you were the sunflower.
I will. Yes, when I process this video, I'll put
you
the
included that. Yes, I love it. Yes.
We finished that session in the morning. I went out to the mountains. I was in a small town. I walked around a corner, and there was one of those big billboards. Filled with sunflowers with the holes for your face to go in. And I had to stick my face in there and take a picture to send to you because it was
and that was magnificent.
The timing was so synchronous.
The synchronicity, the timing, and just considering everything that, you know, that we have been doing. And then it's like everything just kind of continued too, because then it was then the greater expansion in terms of what the next development in terms of the work that you would do with a tribe of sunflowers, even around the solar plexus. And so though we have our series that we've done, the 3-part training series that we've done, you know, together, and happy to make that accessible to others where they can actually go through these different levels with the companion chakras that are complementing the solar plexus. So, you know, we have
absolutely.
And it's all about profitability. Go ahead.
The work that we've been doing over the last 3 weeks or so has really taken me to a new dimension around the relationship between the chakras. So in the foundational aspects, they're really, I mean, there is a relationship between them, but they really work kind of individually. You know, and they relate. I mean, I'm not saying they're all part of a system, but I've always worked kind of individually on each one of them. And as we're moving up into those other dimensions, the relationship between different chakras has really come to light. And how, you know, and it makes sense that, you know, they're not independent, but they're just really diving into the relationship. So we've done one with the root and the solar plexus. And we've done one with the sacral and the solar plexus. And then, you know, then I don't know if we intended to do this, but the way it evolved, the third eye pulled into the solar.
Well, because what it is that you know, like in other sessions that we've done and other trainings too, even aside from the set that we've done recently, even some we did last year, is that within this other experience, there's always the opportunity for companion chakras to come in, even when you're focused on one. And so that's kind of part of the processes that the experience that I create and open up is coming from when you're not so much grounded in the traditional formats. When we're in the new colors, new dimensions, my work around that is where, different chakras come in. Like, remember, just even recently, one of the trainings that we facilitated together, and you were in the demonstrationist seat there too, where you actually would focus in on 2 chakras at one time, or whatever the representation was for focal points, for those, whether the colors or gems or however. And so, so there's always that opportunity where companion energy will come in and be a support, be supportive to.
But they also, they come in, they come in those different realms and they support.
Yes.
Also, but
it's more than that.
Over because the original chakra can support. This is what I found when we were working with the solar plexus, and then we popped up into the third eye. The energy really moved into the third eye, and then the solar plexus was supporting the third eye.
Well, absolutely, because remember, we've done processes too where we actually bring the energy up into one, and it's either they're side by side, or it's kind of in the shadow, or just like what you had an experience of the yin and yang type of. That was where we were doing.
That was the heart.
That we were doing the heart. And so the thing about it is that, those companions come in at different times. And so, like, we've done a lot of these different processes. It's just, it's amazing how the formalities that take on when having this experience. So one of the reasons why we wanted to bring this to the public, so to speak, to talk about it, is because it's very accelerated work, and it's very much the time for this greater expansion to be taking place with others. And with that, here it is that Brenda Lynn was, she's been working with, she's deeply rooted in it. This has been her primary life's work of hers, and she's over 20 years or so within the energy body, subtle energy body work. And so her own expansion over the last, 2 years, especially 1.5 years in terms of, yes, and then even more recently of now this grander context that was illuminated to her with the sunflower. And then we could start connecting the dots, because even on her publication that she published back in 2020, I think, somewhere, it's been about 2 years ago, close to there, somewhere 21. And so then already having that sunflower, on there. And so, so it's just amazing. But, we definitely want others that we know it's their time, they're ripe and ready for this type of experience and this type of expansion, to be able to have not necessarily their minds blown in a sense, because you will, but it is far beyond what you can really think and comprehend. But it actually is what's really required to move individuals forward into these greater unknowns, and for them to tap into their the possibilities, their potential, that's ready to awaken, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about this work is it's not us directing others what to do. We put out the questions and let them find. So for me, we went from the solar plexus up to the third eye. It could be somebody else goes solar plexus to the throat, or solar plexus to the heart.
And that's happened several times,
It's just a very individual experience. And although we're providing a framework, the actual work and the answers and this insights that come are very unique to each individual.
Absolutely.
But it's what they need in order to move them forward into those higher vibrations, into the higher realms.
Absolutely. And it's a very practical experience, as well. This breath work involved, for sure. But it's very unique, and it is very much individualized, because it is a customized type of experience. And like Brenda Lynn was mentioning, our goal for facilitating is to create the space, the sacred space for individuals to have that type of exploration, with the triggers, to be able to bring out their own information, but to be able to actually listen into the consciousness of the chakras at that level, and understand that it is a very different experience than when just dealing with just the traditional aspect, which is still very much needed. But when you come into this greater awareness, you get to open up to newer potential within you that's going to have a greater relevance to why you're actually here. And it takes you beyond, okay, just healing this and doing that. I mean, that's involved still, but the higher levels are very much pure, very much already whole, and have the ability to come to your traditional first base of chakra and actually do the recoding process in order for that healing to take place. But again, it's very fascinating. And something I want to mention is that with the work that Brenda Lynn and I do, and we certainly want to invite you into that experience because we have different levels in which you can participate. But we definitely want to be able to have some type of retreat experience, because actually the experience that Brenda Lynn and I were facilitating, and she where the sunflower came out, one of those was a retreat-based type of experience, where it was about being in that type of retreat mode where there could be not just the relaxation, but just needing to flow from that place. So there are different variations of intensives that that were going on, but we definitely want to have you who are ready to be a part on whatever level is going to be a right fit for you, during this time. But we can certainly say it's definitely a phenomenal type of experience. I'm sure you would agree, Brenda Lynn.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond the rational mind. So with the traditional chakras, there is still a thought process that goes on with them, and there's information, and it's a logical, rational expansion of the way people would normally see the world, but it's still in that logical, rational realm. When we move into these higher dimensions of the chakra, there's no logic, there's no rationality. It is all intuitive.
Very much.
And it's tapping into the imagination, into the intuition, and that's what
it's the consciousness of the chakra bringing that wisdom from that dimension. And so let me clarify a few things real quick, because even within the traditional chakra base, the traditional format, there's chakra wisdom contained within that experience as well. But what we find, is that but it's a very fixed form in terms of what the information is around the origins of that, where when you are into the newer dimensions that have had a metamorphosis process, it's a new creation type of process, the realms or the dimensions are not fixed forms. So an example of this, just like how, with the root chakra, we know that that's around safety and security. Those are fixed forms in terms of what they're traditionally known for. In the different realms, even though they have some premises like that as well, but they're not so much fixed frameworks that that's the only thing, you're able to get another expansion of that same context, but it's just very different. And the reason why that's very important is because there are some who are not familiar with the different dimensions and could be, we know about chakra consciousness and the chakra wisdom and all of this, and there's so many teachers who teach about this and everything, and those who this is their primary work could definitely say, I do that work too. But this is a very different context.
Very different.
It's actually not the same in terms of what's extracted when you're into these different levels. And it's not like an ascension ladder type of experience, you know, so you don't have to go from one dimension to you got to climb this way. You can.
No, that's what I mean. No, there's not a rational.
Absolutely right. Yeah, you can be in the first one and be in the seventh. You can be in the, you know, so there's different contexts of it. And what you find is that each type of processor, so just like when you actually got the wisdom and energy in terms of the 12th realm, which, as I was mentioning too, that's more of a discipleship, apprentice type of, that's a higher level of mastery, but it's one where you're being set up to now demonstrate your mastery with others on a certain level and have disciples, if you will, underneath what you're doing, and that's your sunflower tribe at this point. And so and Brenda Lynn actually has a new platform around this experience, and so we're going to have the link to that platform also, you know, in the description, along with what I mentioned, other opportunities that we have and how you can learn, you know, more about us. But we just thought it was really important. We just wanted to come forth because it's been so exciting that we could come and then share this about even that experience that she had. That's it's crazy good, right?
You know, like you said at the beginning, I've been working with the chakras for over 20 years and have gone deeper and deeper into them and expanded them. I've taken other courses and followed other people's stuff. It's all part of my learning process.
Right.
I have never, ever experienced anything like the processes that you've taken me through and what I've experienced through this ascension into the different dimensions of the chakra. I don't know anybody who is doing this type of work. Right. Like you say, they might say they're going to different dimensions of it, but none of them that I have ever experienced have taken it into this. There's almost like each one of those chakras is a universe of its own.
It is. Each one,
and
absolutely.
You're exploring, you know, exploring such a vast expansion of that. I've never experienced that before.
Right. Yes. And it's not it's very a practical experience. It's actually not a woo-woo type of experience, even though you can feel floaty sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it can. But it's a very safe you know, process for sure, because you're going really within you and what's really within you versus it transporting you into some other type of well, I don't know, just some other type of place. It's not
different place. Yeah, it's very unique. It's something you have to experience.
You really do.
And I think what we're doing here today is just encouraging you to start your own journey and have an experience. And just what you'll find is that it'll be so phenomenal for you, the first level, that you will want to open up the next level and the next level. And in that way, it's very self-directed. You do it when you're ready. But I'll tell you, after you've had one experience, you can't wait to get back and explore something different. So it's, but it is the way, this is the energy that we need to evolve the world.
Absolutely.
Bring the world forward. And this is the whole point of this sunflower tribe.
Absolutely.
Gathering these influencers that are wanting to elevate to those higher dimensions, because we need so many more of those people in order to bring the rest of the population along.
Oh, right. Catch them up really with the evolution.
You know, evolve the world. This is what's needed. And and I'm just feeling thrilled to be at the center of this at this point and offering just an endless amount of experiences. I know that I'm just still at the tip of the iceberg with this. So so thank you, AliNICOLE.
You're amazing. Oh, you're welcome. I thank you. I thank you and commend you because you weren't someone who was stuck and rigid in your ways in terms of expansion, where some people, when they've done this work for so many years, they can be very much kind of set in stone with the way that they're accustomed to. But you have been someone who's allowed yourself to be very expansive in terms of the exploration, and then finding more of your deeper purpose and connection even with the work, and you know, it changing your own world and then what that means, you know, for others. And so it's just interesting how you and I, we recorded products together, you know, the chakra products together, you know, spiritual
financial products together.
We've recorded tons of products
So
together.
many different
But
things. Yeah.
this last set of products in terms of with the solar plexus, definitely, because that's what brought about even, the sunflower, expansion.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah, so it's this, I just want to say this though, this is really the time where the solar plexus, the new power center and new identity format is really taking center stage. And I obviously have works and things around this and different activations, but I talk a lot about the solar source, sun energy. And a lot of that comes within the new feminine energy, but it's the balance of the feminine and the masculine, but it's just that it's a different, more evolved approach to how we expand, not just ourselves, but how we actually expand the planet into this evolutionary type of experience and what's needed for people from the inside out. We talk a lot about doing inner work on certain levels, but all of the personal development work and self-improvement, self-empowerment work doesn't really mean a lot if, in fact, the energy body has not come to a certain level of elevation where it actually can work in companionship, complementary type of energy with one another. So it's like you can be solid in what seems to still be the logical sense. But again, if the energy body is not aligned for this new experience, then all of the development you've done in other areas aren't really going to be as effective as we are moving forward, into this newer experience, for sure.
I think that this is the foundation that allows all of the work that you've done in the past to really flourish.
Absolutely.
And
it takes you to the metamorphosis from caterpillar
absolutely
to
so that it's
butterfly.
not a waste of time, the stuff that has been done in the past.
No,
it's just waiting for its evolution.
That's it. And that's the optimized.
This is providing the environment to allow all of those things, because this is bringing to life stuff that I took 20 years ago.
Right.
Bringing it into this new, it's almost like illuminating.
It is
shining the sunlight on it and illuminating it to where I can see, how it is enhancing my life and how I can use it going forward. And so it is a beautiful process for optimizing everything that you have along your journey to this point.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
Far beyond the imagination, right? Far beyond the imagination. Okay. Well, do you think that we provided a good enough premise of a conversation? Because really it was no real planned agenda except to come on and talk about what had happened, for you and just wherever this conversation would go, but allowing others to know that we are here to support on various different levels. And as mentioned, that there'll be information within the description, and you have the opportunity, of course, to connect with Brenda Lynn and I and follow us on our collective platforms, individual platforms and everything. But just know you're not alone in terms of what this next level is. And most of you have not even been aware what is the next level. So there's been confusion for some of you around that. And now there's clarity in terms of, oh, here's a path. Even if I don't fully understand it, at least I know I can actually start embarking on this way and now start to explore this new, type of experience. So,
and I would just add that it's not only that you're not alone, and you are not alone. This work, in my opinion, and my 20 years of experience, this is the work you cannot do alone.
Right.
Like it is not possible to do this alone. You need some guidance through it. I certainly did. And I've been doing this for 20 some years.
Right.
It's through that guidance that it is so empowered. And it's really just somebody holding that space for you to do your own work. It's not that we tell you what, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. It's just having somebody else hold the energy, hold the vibration around you while you do your inner work to move to this space. It will happen so much faster for you, so much easier. It's so much more joyfully than anything that you can possibly accomplish trying to do it on your own.
I agree wholeheartedly. That was brilliantly and beautifully stated. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
comes from
So,
experience. So
yes,
I think that we have kind of covered it all for this
I do
time.
too. So
We
I'm
always
going to
come
let
back
you
with
close
new
it
things
out.
that pop up. So if we missed
Yeah.
anything, we'll bring it into the next video. But yeah,
Yes, we
love
certainly
to
will.
start helping, collecting that sunflower tribe, helping people tap into their power, bring them into
Yes.
that expansive dimensions.
Yes, right.
But yeah, join the sunflower tribe.
Absolutely. Yes. Again, there's information below, so make sure that you explore yeah, these opportunities. All right. So,
Awesome.
Brenda Lynn, would you like to close us out, or would you like me to close us
You
out?
might as well. I think I've said everything that
You think
needs to be said
it's
for me, so you can close us out.
okay? I certainly will. First, I just want to thank you, of course, and continue to commend you for the magnificent work that you do, but also just the
Thank you.
beautiful soul that you are and the brilliance that you bring, to this planet, and that you are shining and illuminating that for others. Your leadership is just incredible. And I just want to say to those who are on their exploration journey and ready to evolve, is that this is your time, and you are fully equipped and ready to step into this new experience. Now, with saying that, that means that this starts a new adventure for you of learning, but you are ready to actually be in the receptive mode to go on this journey and learn and quickly accelerate yourself and become all that you need to be for this life phase to serve at a higher level. So we are definitely looking forward to being able to be champions for you and facilitate what the guidance provides for us to facilitate, but also we're open to learn from you as well. So looking forward to us being together in this experience, all of us evolving together. But just know you are ready for this time. And we just want to thank you for being who you are and also being here with us today.
Very well said, AliNICOLE. And you know those sentiments about awesomeness of your leadership are mutual. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for bringing this experience to life for me and for everyone else.
Oh, thank you.